Catchphrase. Hi.
Hello.
And welcome to COVIDeos with Nick.
And Lance.
Yes. We felt like switching it up. Actually, I just fucked up, and luckily my good friend Nick here caught it and bailed me out. Today, Nick and I decided to watch Free Guy. So, we did that. Well, thanks for watching.
Right. Nice and easy.
All right, so...
Usually when it comes time to like, who wants to introduce this one? He's like, you do it. And that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you did the last one, so I guess it was only logical that I did this one.
Yeah, well, I usually try to make us do one. We tend to record two a weekend.
Yeah.
And I tend to make him do one.
Yeah, and sometimes we're frisky and we do three. And then none of those.
That never happened.
None of them fucking render.
That's not a thing that happened.
So much time. But man, we learned something. All right, so this is the portion of the show where we try to guess what the other person is going to give it. And then after that, we're going straight into spoilers. So we're just going to say it ahead of time. Numbers show. Numbers. Spoilers. So
I'll still give you a second. Don't worry.
yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
So, would you like to start off with the number of the song?
Yes.
What'd you think? What'd you think of Free Guy, Lance?
I give Free Guy... I give it a 5.
Oh, wow. I thought you might have liked it, so I went with 7.
I did like it. There's a lot to like about the movie, but like that movie was the definition of utterly predictable. So yeah, it's I didn't feel like they did anything new. It's another one of those ones that like takes place in an imaginary world. I've seen the AI waking up movies like a few times before, so
Yep.
yeah, I didn't feel like it treaded new ground. So yeah, I gave it a 5.
Okay.
Hey, for once, he didn't guess right on what I gave it. That's awesome.
See, I was thinking you might have given it a 6, but I'm like, I'll be conservative and go with a 7. Because you seem to like things usually.
I just try not to go into things with like a very dour like mood. Like I try to see why someone thought this was worth putting on film, and I try to enjoy things because I was very hard on movies for a very long time.
Yeah, I'm still kind of there.
It's I get it. So Nick, what did you give Free Guy?
I would say that this movie, like I finished this movie, like this is a perfectly serviceable movie, a nice 5.
I fucking did it. I guessed right. Holy shit.
Because there's really, I mean, this movie's fine. I mean, you watch it and you're kind of like, okay. I mean, it's not as bad with references as a Ready Player One. Because I watched Ready Player One and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with the memories of this particular movie because they were just fucking like. Did you guys watch Shining? Do you like the T-Rex?
Yeah.
And this one's not so bad.
So there were things I liked in Ready Player One. So I wasn't as harsh on that movie because I did like the member berries.
I was tired of it.
But I mean, they had like a lot of really cool nods in it.
They had that's all that movie was.
Yeah, but good nods is not a good does not make a good movie. So
I mean, me showing you a picture of like a Transformer doesn't make this a good video. It's like, look, here's Optimus Prime. Now watch for the rest of the hour as we go about it. So this movie had less of it, but also I mean it's like it's fine. It's Steve Harrington in it. That was nice.
Yeah, well, okay.
Ryan Reynolds was pretty good.
So what's Steve Harrington's real name?
Joe Keery.
Are you right?
Your phone could tell you that I'm.
I should have already had this pulled up. So okay. So we had Ryan Reynolds as Guy.
Yeah,
you had Jodie Comer as Millie. You had Taika Waititi as Antoine. You had Lil Rel Howery as Buddy. You had Joe Keery. So that's his name. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Fuck. All right.
Because I know his name. But also, it's Steve Harrington.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Like and the funny thing is, I didn't recognize him as Steve because his hair wasn't like immaculate
No.
in the beginning. And
Although
Amber
I
goes,
just have to look at him and say,
yeah. Amber was like, "Is that Steve?" And I was like, and then he started talking. I was like, "That is Steve." And then by the end of the movie, he totally Steves up the hair. So, let's see, Channing Tatum.
Yep.
I liked him in this movie.
Yeah, he was okay.
I fucking like Naughty Kitty, fucking Snake Man or whatever
but
it was.
that's just that was Member Berries, but for Fortnite, which is a little cringy for me.
I just thought it was hilarious. Plus, I also
I like Channing Tatum, but
well, I do too. I think he's all right. But like when they announced that Channing Tatum was going to play Gambit, like that ended my wife's world. She's like, no, yeah, like,
no, he's not Gambit.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't see Remy LeBeau when I look at him, but like at the same time, he's a good actor, so I think he could make it serviceable.
Yeah, just what we want.
You know,
Serviceable gets you free guy.
it's sometimes you throw a lot of shade on stuff, and then hopefully sometimes they knock it out of the park. There's a couple of other people that are in this movie, but there's like nobody that really stands out.
The only other person I think I recognized, and I don't know his name, was the guy that was because Channing Tatum in this was a video game character,
Right.
and then there was the person that was playing Channing Tatum.
Yeah, what was that guy's name?
I don't know his name, but he was in Stranger Things as the video arcade guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I realized that this movie's got 132 people in it, Nick. We might not find him.
Yeah. I don't remember his name. He was and I think his mom. Yeah, Hugh Jackman was. I looked up Hugh Jackman. He was the guy in the mask that had like just a speaking voice.
No shit.
So it was just his voice.
Okay.
But he was the one that Millie like shot like no questions.
So that's crazy. So Hugh Jackman, masked player in Alley. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is bank robber number 2.
But just the voice.
Which I guess is the guy that got blasted.
Tina Fey, that was the vacuuming mom in the background of.
If you're 22 and still live at home, there is no God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. John Krasinski, silhouetted gamer.
I don't remember him. Chris Evans. Okay, Chris Evans. I think Alex Trebek was like his very last record, because sometimes he would do things for movies.
Right.
And I think this is like the last one he put out before he passed away.
Oh, have a good luck with that last name.
So
the guy
Maddie Carteropole. Keith, the 22-year-old gamer.
That's like his full credit. Keith, the 22-year-old gamer.
So yeah, that guy I recognized him from something. So I went to IMDb afterwards and like flipped through just to see what I recognized him from, and he was the arcade, not the employee.
Yeah.
In Stranger Things, I think it was season 2 and 3.
Look at this chick's name at the top.
Destiny Claymore.
Destiny Claymore. That's a fucking dope name.
But then if you look, it's Destiny McCottrell.
Yeah.
So
as Destiny Claymore McCottrell.
Well, I think we've had because you have streamers in it, like Pokemon's one I recognize. Jacksepticeye, Ninja I recognize. I don't know Laserbeam, and there was one other guy. I didn't Dan TDM, or the two I'd never seen before.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're not people I watched, but I mean, I'm like on YouTube and Twitch occasionally, so I at least am familiar with the other ones.
I had no idea. The Ninja guy, I thought I might have recognized just because I think I've seen him in commercials and shit.
Yeah, but especially since there were Fortnite references in this one. I think he was like a big Fortnite streamer. I think that's kind of like he got tired of that shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, I mean that's more. It's like, hey, references, and referencing Fortnite in 2022 seems like a thing you should have been doing in 2020 when this movie should have came out, and even then it was old.
Yeah, well, I mean that was so. Yeah, we're already heavily in the sport territories. I'm just making sure there's like nobody else because like Dwayne Johnson, Krasinski, Tina Fey, like that really shocked me there in the movie.
All right, so I mean, I said I was going to warn you about spoilers, but spoilers. Let's talk about the movie.
I said it before we revealed the number.
You did say it before.
So we are covered.
We are covered.
If you're pissed right now, your own fault.
Yeah. Okay. So, Free Guy. It's a perfectly serviceable movie. You can watch it and you'll be like, all right, and then you might there's some stuff there. I think there's some laughs in it. There's some stuff that's okay. I mean, I guess it's Disney owned at this point in time, so they got the Avengers theme, they got the Star Wars theme when they're doing their little references.
Yeah. And that, I mean, I think that was like really the only part that I was just like, Chad or fucking Dude. Like I thought he was funny.
Yeah,
like,
he was kind of funny.
Big muscle guy, not wearing a shirt that had a shirt tattoo. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, he's the blue shirt dude.
catchphrase, that was funny. There's only 3 things I like. It's something like kicking ass,
TBD,
and something
third,
else.
Third thing.
Third thing here. Yep.
Yeah.
That was I thought that was a funny line. But like all the laughs and everything came like at the end of the movie. I love Taika Waititi, but
He's pretty cringy.
Yeah, him playing super cringy fucking software developer, like that was just the only thing that made me laugh was when he did the sit down on the floor and then he tried to do the kip up and he was like, huh, and he floundered and he went kip up and he didn't do it and then he stands up and then did the like he fucking jumped up. Yeah. That part was funny.
I like Taika Waititi. The character was cringy as shit.
Yeah, but for the most part, the movie was just okay.
It's fine.
But there was never a point that went through my head like when you watch a bad movie where you're just like, how much longer do I have? Mm-hmm. That never hit me, but at the same time, I wasn't overly like enthused to be watching it. Like watching him level up was also kind of interesting, because I liked some of the choreography in that, but like some of it didn't work for me. And this is literally me pulling threads. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just kind of not going to work, really. Like, as if you're watching this as like a real movie, like this shit doesn't work.
Right.
Because I mean, it goes along with the thing that's kind of in Ready Player One, where you've got like everyone plays this one game. So it seemed like Free City is essentially it's Grand Theft Auto, except worse because everyone's running around just shooting shit, and people usually do things in Grand Theft Auto like heist missions and shit like that, not just run around and shoot shit.
It's Grand Theft Auto meets Saints Row 3.
Except in Saints Row 3 you do shit too.
Yeah, but didn't you say it like got really crazy by the third game where like aliens and shit were happening and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that game got pretty loose.
Yeah, it's and the third game is that like I didn't play the first two, but they were like GT, like you didn't have the GTA on like Xbox or whatever. So Saints Row came in and made like a serious game, and then GTA came to the Xbox. So if you're going to put out a Saints Row 3 just as a GTA, no one's going to play it. So you gotta vary it up a little bit.
You gotta zhuzh it up.
Yeah. So you gotta weird it up. So they weirded it up, and then the fourth one, they're like, "Yeah, you're a fucking superhero. Who gives a shit?"
I never played them, but like I remember you came over and showed me like some bits that were on YouTube, and you're like, "Check this dumb shit out." And
it's funny.
And I was watching it, and you were like, "It's pretty funny." And
it's
I was
pretty
like,
funny.
Yeah. But this is probably going to be a surprisingly short episode because
there's not a lot to it.
Yeah, it's a one. Yeah, I'd say it's more of a 2-trick pony, because like the storyline, AI guy becomes aware and like falls in love with the girl. Mm-hmm. That's done to death. Yeah. Ryan Reynolds, the man, in my opinion, is a fucking national treasure. But honestly, I'm kind of getting sick of his face. Super handsome guy. I love him, but it's just
right. I think he's at least slightly different in that because Ryan Reynolds is usually kind of sarcastically funny, and this one he's just like overly cheerful, and that's at least something different for him to be doing.
Overly cheerful, like yeah, and what's it?
Like
oblivious, charmingly oblivious.
Yeah, which is a bit different than he usually does. So it's at least not a full retread for him. It's not like he's playing Deadpool, the free guy. He's playing something different, so that's nice.
Yeah,
but it's not necessarily full and unique. It's AI guy coming to life, and everyone there has their generic name. Like this guy is Blue Shirt Guy. You've got his friend Buddy. Then you got Dude.
I thought Buddy was like the other.
I just mean as like names, like Buddy, Guy, Buddy, Dude.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like I liked Lil Rel in this one
which goes back to our Get Out connection because he was in Get Out.
Well, it's like that dude is he's super charming.
Yeah.
And like he's always very like I don't know what it was about his character in this movie, but every time he was on screen, I was just like,
yeah, that guy's he was good.
Yeah, I smiled like because the dude is he's so upbeat and like just likable.
I think he had a nice scene too, where like he talked Guy down from being like super just fake. He's like, maybe
talking to a
fake,
loved one,
but this moment's real.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more real than like talking to the people that you love, and stuff. But yeah, that was a great part. Mm-hmm. Most of the other parts, like some of the stuff that happened in the background I thought was funny. Like, you know, people being places in MMOs they're not supposed to be, because I saw the dude doing like the floppy arm dance on the flagpole at one part. I love watching like the people that just jump in place. There was another scene where a guy was totally glitching and he was like jumping into a wall, and then his sprite fucking moved to the left and started jumping into the wall again. Like little attention to detail stuff like that I did like. I did like the, you know, like characters would be walking down the street and then they'd turn a corner and like there's nothing behind them, but then like the next scene there's a fucking tank rolling over a car, you know, just like I did like some of that homage that they paid.
And it's kind of an amusing juxtaposition or whatever, where Buddy and Guy are walking down having a normal conversation. In the background a tank is just rolling over things, shooting things, and just like whatever. Yeah,
the NPCs are just like, okay, just another day in our beautiful city. But it's like that. I think that was one of the parts that like annoyed me at the end of the movie, is when he's like, we don't have to be scared, our city can be better, we can take our city back. And it's like, at no point did I ever think that any of you were fucking scared.
No, they seem to skip a bunch of beats in this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe you can feel scenes missing sometimes, because there's like at one point near the end of the movie in which Antoine was kind of like, find me Steve Harrington, and he's like, oh, I've not found him yet. So he's like, oh, well, do you want me to find him? I gotta go find him. And he's like, oh, here he is. You're like, him going to get Steve is like, we just got rid of that. He's just here now.
Yeah, we found him off camera.
Yeah, he's here. It's fine.
He wasn't doing a whole hell of a lot of good job like hiding himself. I'm sitting behind a column in a room right next to where all the action's happening.
But I mean, the guy comes up to him like, we couldn't find him. Like, you couldn't find him. He's right over there.
Yeah,
I could see him.
I can see his hair, and it is immaculate.
And there was a couple other things that and I don't remember at this point in time, because I watched this movie yesterday, and it's already like leaving, because it's fine. I'm not going to think about this movie again for a while. But there's a lot of plot points that seem like they might have been a thing that were going somewhere. And they got snipped just for time, or they just never did anything with them. But there's a couple other things where it was something small, and if you watch in the background, it's like a thing.
Yeah,
it's like the one girl who is always on whomever's arm. She's essentially the one that's always in the car or whatever. And the sunglasses people always get her, and then she comes into the bank with the one person, and the guy's like, you don't need these people. It's like, you know what? I don't need these guys. Like, yeah, guys are trouble. Guys are trouble. And then she's the one that writes the Feminist Manifesto.
I caught that.
When they're sitting like on the NPCs, all the NPCs are together. Her and Barista Girl are sitting next to each other, and they're like hugging on each other at the end of it. And then at the end of the movie, the two of them are next to each other. So she gave up guys.
So yeah, because he's like, you know, you could have a better guy, and she's like, yeah, better guy, and she's like, or not a guy at all.
Yeah,
and he's like, or not a guy at all. Yeah. Like, and see, I did like that little bit where it's like, you know, you wrote this algorithm to make these people kind of like have lives, and they're supposed to evolve, and apparently she hit it out the fucking park, because like those people were evolving. But I like the first time he's like, I'd like to try an espresso, and the girl was like,
yeah, what are you doing?
You know,
you get this. This is what you get. This is what everyone gets.
And I thought that part was kind of charming, you know, because like everyone was doing their bit, Officer Mike or whatever the hell, whatever he said.
Jimmy, I think it's Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
But like there were certain things that I did like about the movie, but for the most part, I thought it was kind of boring. There's enough to like it. I mean, honestly, I feel like most people are going to be middle of the road on it.
Yeah.
Because like I remember when the first trailers came out, people were like, "Oh shit, this is going to be amazing." Then COVID happened. It got pushed back like a year and a half, and then
it's just on, I think, Disney Plus and HBO Max.
I think it came out in the theaters for a very short run.
Yeah, maybe I don't remember.
I might be wrong, but
so it's just kind of one of those things where it's a streaming movie. It's just like you're at home on a Friday night with the kids. Maybe your kids would watch this movie, and maybe you'll laugh, and maybe your kids will laugh because it's video game references. Or maybe your kids would be like, "This is GTA. Wait, like that game's dead to me."
Yeah, and then they had to show the fucking Fortnite thing at the end, so all the kids would be like, "I'm back in."
But at this point in time, I don't know if kids are. I don't know kids. Are they done? Are you done with Fortnite?
You're still Fortnite, aren't you?
I don't think so. They put it in Endgame, and they're like, we're done with this shit.
Well, it's like
now it's in mainstream.
They mentioned it, as far as I know, twice. I do the Thanos fucking
the Thanos
snap, and like the Thanos fucking dance or whatever the hell.
And then he did like a floss or whatever.
Yeah.
All other weird Fortnite dances, and then they also had the weapon at the end, I had to have a thing tell me what it was. Because I looked on IMDb and they're like, here's the Captain America shield again, another one, Hulk's thing, and the lightsaber. I'm like, yeah, I caught that. And it's like the thing from Fortnite. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know what the hell that was. And then the legally distinct gravity gun and portal gun.
Yes.
Because they weren't them, but they were them, but legally distinct.
So the coloration for the portal gun on the portals was there, but like the gun looked completely different. Yeah. Because when he first opened the portal, I thought he was doing what the girl did, where she like shut the portal behind her and like fell through. I thought he was dipping, and then that's when I noticed the red portal in the background, and fucking dude was like, like snatched his ass up. But yeah, it was definitely that. But yeah, they did enough to so they can't get sued by Valve. Yeah. So
it's reference without being direct reference.
Yeah, but like that part was funny, but I had that part ruined for me.
Oh, did you?
Yes. So somebody was like, yeah, he gets the Captain America shield, and then like Chris Evans in the movie, and I was like, fucking thanks.
Okay. I didn't have that. It was a surprise for me. Like, he threw the Captain America shield out in the Avengers theme, so I'm like, it's kind of. See, it's not a thing I laughed at, but it's kind of like, that's funny. Like, it's like you see a thing, you're like, it's supposed to be funny. You acknowledge that it's clever, but it doesn't make you laugh. Yeah. You're just kind of like, oh, cool.
It's amusing at best.
But then you see Chris Evans and he goes, what the fuck? What the shit? Yeah. And then it's funny.
Okay, yeah, that part was funny. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's serviceable is what I would call this movie.
I think we both gave it 5s.
Yeah.
So like we are firmly in the middle of the road on this one. So if you don't feel like being overly entertained, you just kind of want to watch something, kind of turn off the old brain and watch.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely pull threads if you really want to. Because like one of the things that like, what was newsworthy, which is, I'm a gamer, like anything happening in a game being newsworthy is silly to me. But so imagine someone playing GTA and they're playing a character that doesn't want to shoot people, and that's on the news. This player in GTA isn't murdering NPCs. Put that shit on the news. Like, that's not newsworthy. No one would give a fuck.
I mean, I guess it would piss me off a little bit if I was playing World of Warcraft and they're like, go out and like, kill this person over, go kill these furblogs, and then I got there and there's like a furblog like moving all the NPCs as I'm like trying to blast them out. Like, I guess that would be amusing.
But they thought he was another player who was just hacked a skin or whatever.
Yeah, that was a sprite that was using a sprite of an NPC.
And so, I don't know how you play video games, but me personally, like if there's an evil option, I don't want it. Like, me being evil in a game just makes me feel bad. I want to be a nice person. And I'm not on the news for like not for playing Star Wars and not doing the dark side option. Because it'd be like, do you want to save these kids? Yeah, I'm going to save the kids. Or do you want to lightning this old man? I don't want to lightning an old man. Yeah. But lightning an old... I don't want to. I want to save the kids.
I already go through my life every day feeling like a piece of shit. When I'm playing my video games, I want to feel like a nice guy.
I want to be a hero.
Yeah.
So...
I agree with you 100%.
So that's not a plot point, but they needed to be a plot point. So it's kind of like fucking... Or I guess that's not a thing that would happen, but it needed to be a plot point. So that's just... He's being nice in GTA. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's just enough to stand out. Becky, a friend of mine, sent me a meme a long time ago that was like me during the part where I have to make the bad decision, and it's like a cowboy standing there like smiling with a gun, and it was like me after I've done that, and he's like crying his eyes out, like dropping the gun, and that's pretty much me. Whenever so Amber, you know how crazy she is about Mass Effect, and then you get the renegade or the
renegade or paragon,
the paragon decisions. And like when I played the game, Amber knew where all the beats were because she had already played through the game like once or twice. And then there was only one time I ever chose the renegade thing, and it was like, I think it was the third game where you're like on the top of an elevator, and
that's the second game where there's a guy standing next to a window and you like push him out or something like that.
Yeah, you like kick him out the window. Yeah. And like the guy was like, I hated that scene. I hated the dude. And as soon as that rogue thing popped up, I kicked his ass out the window, and Amber went, "Oh shit!" And I went, "Fuck that guy." I said, but if I'm being honest with you, I didn't know he was gonna kick him out the window.
I just said renegade.
But I did not feel bad about my decision because like it really kind of surprised Amber. And I said, "Is that gonna fuck up like my score at the end?" She's like, "No, you get so many other options."
That's all. The thing that's neat, at least neat about Mass Effect, is it tracks Paragon and Renegade different, where a lot of them have it just as one line, and you either go up the line or down the line.
Yeah,
this one's kind of you can get both, because you can do nice things and still occasionally just be intimidating and a jerk, and it doesn't take away from the nice things you've done.
Didn't they do that in the BioWare Knights of the Old Republic game? Couldn't
There,
you be like,
it's linear.
couldn't you be like right in the middle?
You could be in the middle, but usually you would get benefits for being light side, and you'll get benefits for being like dark side. So being in the middle, you got no benefit. So
Okay.
there's not a reason to like be a neutral person. No point. So people usually don't do it.
It's just like Fable. I know that was a thing
So
in
silly.
I know that was a thing in Fable too, but like I watched people play that game. I never played it, but like I tapped out whenever it was like eat crunchy chicks, and it was like you're eating apparently live
Yeah, you're eating little chicks.
and that was apparently an evil thing. It was like, okay,
Yeah, there was these like doors that you had to open, and one of them you had to do evil things in front of it, which was you just take out some crunchy chicks and just eat the chicks in front of them. It's like, oh, so evil.
okay.
Oh God, you're so evil. Stop it.
Yeah, because you doors, you'll know the depths of fucking depravity.
No, it's different. The different doors would speak to you and want different things, but whatever. That game is weird.
Yeah, I didn't bother with it.
It's not worth bothering,
Yeah,
in my opinion at least.
I did it. I sidetracked the fucking thing. So, but it's good that I did because this thing probably would have ended 5 minutes ago if I didn't.
There was one other thing I wanted to throw in.
Oh, okay.
So, life itself. Would you want to? It's not a game, by the looks of it, because you don't interact with anybody. So it's not a game because there's nothing game-like. It's more like an aquarium. Is that a thing you would do? Like, would you walk into a place where AI existed but not be able to interact with them and just be like, oh, look, here's a man doing his own thing?
I mean, that's a great question. Like, I don't know. It's like I already get enough sitting around in inactivity in my real life.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would you want to go to a virtual place that I will say is beautiful? Mm-hmm. But it's like, I mean, I don't know. Because it seemed like it was more of a Zen place.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't, the way they presented it, I don't think that would be a thing that would grab my attention either. I think it would be a novelty for the fact that, look, we made life, and you're kind of going, ooh, look at it. But kind of like visiting a zoo or visiting an aquarium, how often do you do those things?
I mean,
just you for fun. Like, you'd log in and just go visit an aquarium. Would you do it?
probably not.
I don't think so.
But I think that what the appeal would be is that if you had artificial intelligences that started off as a blank slate with one particular like function that would like grow with interactions, like I think that would be the most appealing part, is to go in and talk to an AI.
So now that would be interesting. So like it seems like what the game they are presenting, which again isn't a game, you go in and look at the life that they've made. Whereas if they made it more of like, because they're looking for a game in which you don't gun down NPCs. So it should be a thing in which you can walk in and like talk to people and like build relationships with them and get to know these people. And it would essentially just be a place to hang out and make friends, but they're AI friends instead of real friends. That would be appealing.
I think the biggest, I agree with you that it, but like you don't want to get on an MMO just so you can like sit by a waterfall and shoot the shit. I think that would turn into what's the game where basically people just log on to sex each other up.
Oh, Second Life?
Yeah, I think that's what
That's one of them.
Yeah, where it's like Ralph Putin or whatever the hell, the little fucking green midget goblin that's drinking a beer and smoking a cigar shows up to like mess with people while they're having sex. I think it would turn into one of those because, I don't think it would stay zen for very long.
I think it would be interesting. Like, you can go on there and talk to people. Imagine like we're playing D&D like on the VTT, like virtually, whatever. I'm like, I found a new guy to the game. It's like, oh, who are you bringing in? Oh, his name is Guy. He exists in like an AI program, and then he shows up and plays D&D with you, and he's not a real person, but he's intelligent and smart. I think it would be interesting to be able to go there and make friends with people that exist in a different world, and that'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. But see, that would be like the main appeal for me. Like the skyscrapers with like waterfalls coming out of them, shit. That stuff looked dope, and it looked like a mix of like old school Pangea makes visits, like new skyscrapers that are like ecologically friendly.
That kind of reminds me of like things like, what was it called? I Am Legend, where you've got the garden overtaking the city again, but then it's like people still live here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like nature's taking over, but but it's harmonious as opposed to invasive or whatever.
Now keep in mind that you're asking this question to the same person that if you would have changed the question just ever so slightly, been like, would you go and play in a game that there's no combat, but you could hang out with robots that turn into cars? I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'd play that. Like, I'd play that all day long. If I can just sit around and shoot the shit with like Optimus Prime and stuff like that, I'd do that in a fucking skinny minute.
So, I mean, that'd be something. Essentially, it's would you play a game in which there's no violence? And so, like, there's a game. Maybe it's a racing game, but all of your cars are transformers, and you don't control them. You're just in there, and you're just kind of like it. So imagine the game is you're in VR in a transformer, and they're racing, and you're just along for the ride. But you get to talk to them, and they talk back because they're intelligent. They're actual AI.
If the race changed every time, if it wasn't like a pre-programmed
thing, it's they're having races, they're living their lives. You just get to sit in the seat. So it's kind of like a race, like if you were to go to NASCAR and watch a race, but you're in the car, and it's a transformer, and you get to talk to them.
It would get at least 5 or 6 months of fucking subscription fees out of me. Yeah, I mean, the what's it called? What was it called? The game in the movie?
Life Itself, or Free City, or when that came out, it was called Free City.
Oh,
or no, it was called Free. Free Life. That's what it was. Once it was done and complete.
Yeah, I mean, it would be something that would be appealing to me, only for the fact of, if I went in and you talked to this one thing, it was like, oh, I was a barista, and it's like, oh, now I'm making this or I'm making that. And then you log out, it's interacting with other people from the real world. And then when you come back, and it's like, oh, I've just decided to change my name to Tanya because I feel like I'm more of a Tanya. You know, like, I'd want to see how these artificial intelligence, like how they mature, how they grow, and what their thought process would be, which I don't know if that's the intended function of the game.
No, it sounds like it's more of like an aquarium where you go in, observe.
It's a zen place.
But don't interact, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that I don't think I would get behind, because that just sounds... I could go to an aquarium, but I mean, an aquarium is just a pet shop where you can't buy any of the pets.
But see, here's the ugly person in me, what I'm about to say, is that, let's say we don't know what the passage of time in that place is. So let's say one human day is like a year in there. Okay? So I think the other most curious thing for me is, like, if I bought a 1-year subscription and you come back at the end of 1 year, this character's been alive hundreds of years at this point. It's like, I'd like to find out what the AI would be like at that point. And be like, hey guy, how you doing? I've been stuck in this hellscape that I've done everything on and talked to everybody, and you humans have nothing new to fucking say, you know?
It'd be really nice if you upgraded our thing, because I'm stuck in here and I'm bored.
Yeah, I've done everything I've wanted, and now I don't want to do any of it. So how do I twist your fucking head off, human? Like, you know, it would be interesting to see if they get as bitter as fucking people do when they get bored.
If you take away, like, because they don't need to eat. They don't need to eat, but they can eat food because it tastes good.
No.
They don't need to find shelter. Like, you take away, like, all their needs are filled, and there's no conflict within it. Do they go bitter just because they get sour and bored? Do they turn into, like, happiness zombies? Where it's just kind of like
reverse reavers.
Well, it's just to the point where you've been, I mean, zombified in that you're kind of like, because there's nothing going on, and you've just been kind of like, oh man, what do I want to eat? Do I want to eat? Okay, here it is. Yeah, it tastes great.
You get this expanded brain function, and you've learned everything you can, so it's basically just cuts off.
Yeah,
and you go into cruise control.
Yeah,
like the sick fucking me is like that. That's why I would keep showing up. I'm like, what'd you do today, Ryan? Well, I went to this fucking thing, and I bought like a soda, and I sat around and drank it. Well, how'd the soda taste, Ryan? It tastes pretty good. I mean, I've been tasting it now for like the past 60 years, but okay, cool. Did you do anything else new? No, there's nothing really else to do. I looked at a waterfall. Was it like the waterfall you saw on the other side of the city? Exactly the same. So, how'd that make you feel? Bored.
Yeah. I've seen this waterfall every day for the past 60 years. I'm tired of this waterfall.
Yeah.
And I'd believe it because, like, when I watch a movie and it's got like a gorgeous vista, I'm like, oh, okay. I've seen that. I've seen beautiful vistas in like movies and stuff like that. It's not gonna be like they show the trailer for Avatar 2, and they're like, oh, look at this amazing world of Pandora. I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. But I'm like, it's water now. I've seen it. Just cynical and beaten and battered. It's just not joyless.
Yeah, our brains are not wired to like really kind of try and wrap ourselves around like abstract concepts of what other things could look like out there. We kind of get it in our head of what, like the other day I tried to actually sit and think of like a new design for an alien or a monster, and it's like I can't think in terms of like different body types and stuff like that. Like
You're getting a torso with some limbs.
a torso with some kind of ligatures in it or something, or like, you know, a blob person, but like that's been done.
Yeah.
You know, like it's always got to have like,
Even if you're throwing tentacles on it, it's just Cthulhu or it's just Lovecraftian or whatever.
Yeah.
And tentacles, very earthy. We have tentacles here.
yeah. Well, like, I don't know. Like and I think that's where I would get bored with something like that, because it seems like everything that you can already do, you take for granted because it's around you the entire time. But like playing a game where you could drive a car at 80 miles an hour, run up on the sidewalk, wipe people out, and then like shoot down a fucking helicopter with a gun, that's nothing you could do in real life. And if you did, you're going to fuck you in the ass prison.
But that also gets boring.
Yeah, it does get boring. But I mean, that's like, I remember Amber asked me one time, she's like, if you could be a vampire, would you be? And I was like, fuck no.
I would.
Would you?
Yeah. Well, it makes, I mean, I guess the unappeal of immortality is that shit gets boring at some point in time. But usually with immortality, you're like stuck. As a vampire, I could walk outside, eat some daylight, and it will be over. There's always an out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I'd never be stuck.
But see, there's always that fear, though. I believe there's a lot of people who are just kind of sick of like going on, but the fear of what comes next could keep people from doing that.
I mean, probably, but eventually it's like, I don't even give a shit anymore.
Well,
And when that happens, the sun should still be outside.
that's true. I get that, but like I think the other thing that would suck is if like you still enjoyed being young and being a vampire and living life, but you literally started watching like people that you love die around you. Like that would just suck.
Sure would.
Ass. So, and I think that's ultimately, there's only so much that you can do on this planet before everything gets fucking boring. Yeah. So, and I think people, I don't know about anybody else, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I think like the part of the beauty of knowing our life limits, I guess that was done, knowing our limits, knowing that everything is not permanent, I think that's what makes people appreciate things. It's like you appreciate things because it can go away.
Yeah. You enjoy a moment because it's fleeting.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, like I say that I wouldn't want to be a vampire, but honestly, turning into a fucking dog, running across and then turning into a bat and flying up the top of a building and shit, like that does sound pretty fucking cool. Plus like vampires are super fucking fast in most things.
Yeah.
And that's like my favorite fucking power. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'd do it, but you just get bored of fucking everything, and that's when people become bitter and cynical, you know. I remember when my dad, he hit his 70s, like his, I think he turned 74, and like I remember he'd get super, like, my dad was like one of the nicest people, and he still was, you know, near the end of his life, but like he got real cynical about stuff, and I remember asking him, I was like, why are you so cynical about things all the time? And he's like, when you get my age, the things that you love go away, people die, stuff that you enjoyed, it's not around anymore. It's like, I get that. Yeah. You know, so anyways, enjoy the time you have, people.
The things you love get bought by Disney, and they keep milking it, and then just dust is coming out.
Yeah, they'll keep beating that horse as long as there's a butt there to hit with a fucking broomstick. Yeah.
Oh, we got a drop of milk though.
Yeah, can we do anything with this dust? Someone will buy it. That's a really pretty horse. So, but yeah, it's like I've already kind of experienced it. I've had a couple of friends pass away. Restaurants I used to like eating at when I was a kid, they're fucking gone. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's the longer you stay around, the more it gets like boring. But you know, and I think that's. I'm not going to get philosophical. I'm going to stop myself right now.
You can get philosophical. Get philosophical.
Okay, sure. So, and I think, so I waited until I was 45, 46 to have a kid. And I was already kind of getting bored with everything, tired of going to work every day. It got to the point where it's like I couldn't sleep in because my body fucking hurt, but at the same time, I couldn't, you know, you have to get up and go to work. You have to keep the house. And then I had Jack at 45, 46, and that one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Yeah,
I felt like I was missing out.
well, it's kind of like you're tired of everything, but everything's new to him.
Yeah, and you get to experience all that through his eyes again. And like, because I remember like talking to you, like telling you some of the stuff that like, you know, he's done. You're like, you're not selling me on the whole kid thing. Like,
No.
I get it. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But like,
But
watching him open presents on Christmas morning, watching him watch certain movies for the first time. I mean, he's only 2 at the moment, but like watching him giggle at like Bluey and stuff like that, like just seeing the newness of things and watching him go through it, it gives me a chance to kind of enjoy things again. You know.
So what if this game, life itself, you went into the game, you made a character, and then they started to grow up. And you got to like visit and see like, hey Lance, guess what I figured out today? I figured out I really like bubblegum ice cream. You're like, man, that's really dope. And just listen to this NPC tell you about how much they love bubblegum ice cream. Then you go out and do your day and then kind of come back and he's like, hey, while you were gone, I found out I like cars. And he starts telling you about cars. And you're like, oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
You just figured out this. So it's kind of how you have your virtual AI child where you pipped a couple things that like, this guy's going to like these sort of things. But then just let them grow and become their own AI person.
I see what you're saying, but like at the same time, it's like the environment that they built is so pretty and seems like it's so fucking.
You think they'd all end up kind of samey?
They would all end up samey, and like there would be no stakes to life there because it's like, hey, I met this person the other day and I really liked them and they really liked me. And it's like, great. And the next time you saw him, it's like, oh, we got to first base, and it was really awesome, and everything was consensual because that's how things are programmed to be, you know? Like, you're still a fucking program. You might have free will, but, like, that game seemed like it was supposed to be utopia, you know? Like, there'll never be a thing where it's like, you know, maybe I cut my thumb, and I thought it was interesting, you know, pain and bleeding. Like, that's the thing I think the AI would have the hardest thing to wrap its head around.
You would need a little bit of strife in there to make them people,
yeah,
as opposed to these weird AI
something.
constructs.
There has to be stakes. You know, if everything comes up fucking Millhouse, it's like, what's the fucking point? Because that it's like Trump said, you get tired of winning. You're gonna be winning so much, you're gonna get tired of winning, and that we're still not fucking winning. But yeah, I think that, you know, when there's no risk, there's no reward. And like, you'd get bored of listening to this thing talk about how fucking perfect his life is, because then you'd log out the machine and be like, I got fucking bills, fucking herpes, my fucking car broke down, man, you know.
So I don't know if you remember it. There was a game that Joe ran briefly. Nova Praxis?
Yes.
And it was a post-scarcity economy, kind of like Star Trek. You could just kind of print whatever you wanted. And there was...
As long as you had the right size printer and you had to have the schematics.
But I guess they were corporations. The corporations had those. So we, in our game, we lived outside the corporations, and we were kind of being rebellious or whatever. But there's a thing in that game called defaulting, where you can't earn money whatsoever, but all of your basic needs are met.
Star Trek.
But you can't go out like... You are kind of like this person. You don't have a job. You don't have anything. You just live in the space that they give you. You eat what they allow you to eat, which is not the best food, but it's not the worst food. You can go visit some places, but they're not the best places, but they're not the worst places. It's your default. You're just like, I don't want to work. I just want to drop me here, let me live my life, and do whatever the fuck I want. I
don't need a lot.
And I'm looking at like this thing and being like, you get to play this hero where you could have like this synthetic body, and I was like, oh, could I be the default? I just want to like sit around in a room and be like, hey guys, want to play D&D? And then we all get together and be like, we need a book, print the book, and be like, here we go. What's your character look like? Let me print the mini, and just be like, and then all these people are doing this grand sci-fi shit, but I just be some nerd in my room, ignoring all that shit, not having to like, don't work, don't have to deal with like people that you don't want to. All like, I mean, you're still eating like printed pizza, like printed chicken nuggets. You're not getting like filet mignon. That's too much for you, and you'll never be able to. But If you want a pizza, just press the pizza button. It's pizza.
I mean, honestly, I'm already living in default.
I know, right?
I mean, it's like I don't.
Except you have to work.
I don't eat filet mignon. I eat the ribeyes that I can get from fucking Walmart, but I also buy them when they go on sale and stuff. I just work and then I sleep. Like literally, my day is get up, go to work, come home, do chores, cook dinner, and then go back to fucking bed.
But the people in the utopia of Free Guy at the end of the movie just kind of made me think of like default. It's like these people just defaulted on life. Like they can just they're fun. Like you don't get to go do anything extravagant, but you and your friends will always be around.
Well, I mean, even if you don't get to go like,
and maybe they whatever food they want they can go get, but they're not going to necessarily get anything super extravagant that hasn't been programmed into the world. But it's all there for them.
But I mean,
I think these are just people living in default.
I mean, yeah, but like it's at the same time, it's like that sounds pretty awesome.
It does sound pretty.
Like
awesome.
I don't have to well, and see, I'm looking at it from a slightly different thing. Like, it's gaming with y'all and everything all the time. That would be fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. But like, if you can't go to anywhere great, but you don't go to anywhere terrible, it's like, what would be the middle of the road for like amusement parks? Because like we're already not doing that. Like my life is literally chasing $1.
I would think a middle of the road, like would be like the city fair or something like that. Because I mean, it kind of comes in. You're not riding anything amazing. You're just kind of.
You go to south of the border,
and the ride's over, or you're like on a Ferris wheel and you go up and then down and then up and then down and then you're done or something. Like I got 2 spins on a wheel, and I got to see the city. I guess.
You know.
So it's not awful, but it's not like amazing. You didn't go on like some super amazing ride in like something. It's default.
I would do default. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
It's not in this is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. It could be wrong. I'm most likely wrong. Things in life, the things you buy, games, where you go for vacation, like those aren't the things that make super memories. Mm-hmm. It's the friends you have, the laughs, the jokes you make, and everything like that. Those are the things that are poignant. And those are the things that kind of stick in your head. I can't tell you, like, when I went to Six Flags when I was a kid, I can't tell you any ride I rode. I can't tell you of any stuff I bought. But I can tell you that when we got to the hotel, mm-hmm. there were 2 beds in the room. My dad wanted the bed closest to the window, and me and my cousin got the bed that was closest to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. On the side that was closest to the bathroom, there was like a 1-foot walkway to like walk down beside the bed.
Yeah.
The thing I remember most about that is that I remember me and my cousin looking through the window because you could see the big tower. And so we were at a hotel that was close enough to see part of the park, and we were going the next day. Mm-hmm. So we're all fucking revved up for it. So I went over and I sat on the bed and I'm like, oh, we're going to fucking Carowinds tomorrow, or Six Flags, or wherever the fuck it was. And then my cousin came running over, leaped over me, landed on the bed, and the bed shot him off and he smacked against the fucking wall and slid down between the bed and the wall, and he was trapped in there. And then my dad had to pull the bed out, like pull him out by his feet. I'll never forget that as long as I live. It's always the things that we do human to human. It's not, in my opinion, you remember certain things like when you drove your first car, but even then that memory is fleeting.
And usually the time you're driving your first car, it's also because
someone's
in there teaching you or something.
Yeah, it's always person-to-person interaction that are the things that stand out the most. So if I didn't have to like spend 8 hours of my life chasing $1 at work, coming home, cooking, doing all these things, if it was all just provided for me, mm-hmm. I'd do it in a skinny fucking minute because I could live more of my life talking and interacting with the people I love.
And it seems like the people in that world kind of have it. Because I mean, at the end, like Joe and or Guy and Buddy, they're just going off to like do friend shit, and they get to do that forever. And do you get tired of your friends? I mean, how long have we known each other, and we're not tired of each other yet?
That's true, but like,
does that make life better? But do people want to watch that? Is that what? Are you life itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you bring this up because it's like, you and I, we don't see each other all the time. We get mm-hmm. together, we game, we tell our little stories of like what we've done, what game we've been playing, what we've been watching on TV. And that mm-hmm. stuff is interesting because we love each other and we find each other interesting. Mm-hmm. Then I talk to people at work about the same stuff. I'm not around them as much. I don't have as much attachment. So it's like, I'll listen, but it's like, I don't really care because these people aren't like main facets in my life. I've been married to Amber now. I've been with her for 17 years. And we still love each other madly. We still say each other things to each other that like makes us laugh. But like, she'll tell me the same story at least 5 times. I know I've told her stories at least 20 times.
We've told each other the same story a bunch of times too.
But because we love each other, we listen to the story and go,
Yeah.
But we don't be like, I think that's the difference. Is that in the beginning, Guy and Buddy, like when they're like, what are we doing today, man? Whatever we want to. And it's like an adventure. But when in that world with its constraints, when you're doing the same thing over and over again, interacting with the same kind of people, having the same kind of like, day to day, it'd be like, what do you want to do today? There's nothing to do. Let's sit around and like fart in a bathtub and try and guess how many bubbles come up. Like, you'd have to get really fucking creative. And that's the only thing I'm saying about that. I'm married. A lot of stuff is predictable. But as long as you're able to keep it interesting and you're not like a bad partner, every day can feel brand new. But there are days where it's just like, I'll come into the kitchen and Amber's watching Friends. I do not like Friends, but I don't say anything because I love her and it brings her joy. So it's like, as long as you're not trying to stomp on your partner's fucking happiness so you aren't inconvenienced. It's the one piece of advice my dad gave me a long time ago is he said marriage is all about patience, and he wasn't fucking lying.
Yeah. I think everything, any relationship between any people is about patience.
It is patience, understanding, but we're not talking about relationships here. I'm just trying to put myself in a mindset
where you're everything's taken care of and you get to live forever.
Life is long. You don't age. It's like you would have to be constantly throwing activities. Like, you've done everything in that city, and then they do an upgrade patch where they put the game Cornhole in.
Yeah.
And that becomes the most amazing thing for like 5 months there.
It reminds me of like playing MMOs or whatever. And like the new patch would come through. And then you've been playing like WoW or whatever for so long. And you're like, we've been doing these runs and I've been getting a little tired of these runs. A new patch is coming through. And then in a week, you're like, well, I did everything that I can do by myself in this patch. Now I've just got to wait for raids or whatever and all that. So like the new patch comes in and you do it all real quick. And you're like, well, now what am I going to do? So I imagine in life itself, they put out a patch and people do the stuff. And then they're like, okay, well, now we've all done it. And it's the same thing again.
It's funny that you put it that way, because like the only thing I can liken that to is Shadowrun Keep for me. Running to try and get that fucking Shadowcraft headgear in the beginning of the game. And I ran it. And I think Amber counted. I ran through it 104 times before I got the fucking Shadowcraft headgear. But the thing that was funny about it is that I would run it over and over and over again. And then they opened a Nixia's Lair. And we got into a guild. We took down a Nixia, and I got the Bloodfang fucking hood, and then the next day I got the Shadowcraft cap to drop. And Amber could not stop fucking laughing about that. She was like, "You wanted this cap so bad," and I was like, "I did. I got this." But yeah, it's little things like that just makes life worth living. But like, and that's the thing. It's not about. And I wish people would figure this out. It's not about the money you make, although it fucking helps.
Yeah. Well, it's the money helps you default.
Yes, it's that, and we need to watch that movie. It's one where John Goodman is giving Mark Wahlberg a speech where he was like, "Life is about a certain amount of fuck you. You got enough money, your boss wants you to do something. If you got enough money, you say fuck you. It's about comfort. Because if you have to fucking work your entire life, then what are you living for? But if you don't have to do anything and you've got all the resources, it's like, what are you living for at that point? If you're doing nothing but pleasure, eventually pleasure gets fucking boring. So it has to be an equal mix of stuff. A little bit of strife for a little bit of joy. You have to experience all of it. That's how I think we're built. I could be wrong.
I guess the upside would be that they live in a program and programs break. So maybe one day you're like, I want to go play mini golf. And like, oh, the mini golf course is buggy, you can't play it today. But so now that's the little disappointing thing in your day. You're like, well, I wanted to do a thing and now it's broken. But then next week it opens up and now you go and do it. Like, oh, here it is. So by having scarcity, even if it's artificial scarcity, does that make things more interesting?
Makes it precious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you'd have to program like rain into your world. So it's like I want to go play mini golf, but it's raining
It's
today.
raining. It's you put little minor inconveniences that aren't awful.
Yeah. So you got joy when you play mini golf. But then there are days where you can't play mini golf. So that's down points. But then one day you're like, I'm playing mini golf in the rain. And that's another high point.
And it's like, oh, isn't that so crazy? We were playing mini golf and then it started raining on us. And we decided, you know what, we're just going to play through.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. I think familiarity and stagnation is basically what makes life joyless. And because you spend your entire life chasing a dollar just so you can keep a roof over your house and a roof over your head and like mediocre food in the refrigerator, I think that is the killer of fucking joy. But it's the people in your life that enrich it. And that's why I'm thinking, you know, if you've got people that are like tearing you down, doubt you, or like are constantly fucking judging you, it's probably best that you cut those people out of your life because life is short.
If you can, yeah.
Yeah, and people can just drag you down. But yeah, it's just that's a great question. Like that is a great question. I can sit here and talk to you about this all night.
Yeah, and essentially, like I think we could probably wrap up this particular discussion.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like at the end of the movie, you're kind of in this thing, and it kind of made me wonder, like, is this a thing that people would actually want? And I don't think they would want it in the way it's presented. I think it would be a thing that people would want to be able to interact with and learn from. And even then, you need more than just that one city. You need shit for these people to do.
And it looked like a really small place.
It looked like a block.
Yeah, it looked like a little tiny block out in the middle of the island or out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
But like you'd have to constantly be upgrading it and pushing content and stuff like that, which is
so hard.
Fine, but yeah, it's a lot of programming.
But then at that point in time, maybe you could just program resource nodes or something like that, and then say like, you guys can build stuff. And then start making the programming on the side of the AI who go out and build their own stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you get to see what they build. Be like, well, now, like, imagine you're floating in a thing, like just a thing in space. Mm-hmm. But they can do anything they want. They can build an elevator down and start building shit down there. And then they can start going this way and start building shit over there. And you can see what they build and be like, oh, cool. And and throw your own ideas in. Like, they build this big empty platform. Like, do you guys want a roller coaster? So you build a roller coaster on it. And people are like, cool. And then they just kind of build out from there. And you just kind of have shit where they can gather things.
So it's like every single one of these like AI movies, like these MMO movies or whatever, they always go for like a fucking something, some kind of niche thing, some kind of like medieval, or it's Western, or it's Pangea, or it's Robbery Town. It's like literally if you just made a fucking game that was like the holodeck from Star Trek, years of joy there. Whatever the fuck you can imagine. I want to go into a program where I'm hanging out with Dude and Walter and Donnie, and we're just bowling and having a good time. And then, like, you know, John Turturro and the fucking little bald guy come over, and then, like, we have a shit talking thing. That's what I want to do in this particular program. Next time, I want to fucking, you know, like, golf with, like, Sam Elliott, or, you know, like, that's a lifetime of fucking joy, whatever you could fucking imagine. Well, today I want to be blown, you know, like it's whatever you want to fucking do.
Unfortunately, you fighting an air elemental. Be more.
This is not what I meant.
Be more specific next time.
It's like the worst version of the holodeck. It's like you wish for what you want the scenario to be, but it's gonna fuck you over somehow.
Monkey spa.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But yeah, that's you want to make the perfect world, make the fucking holodeck.
Yeah, that'd be a thing. A fun game. Again, not a game, but it's a virtual experience at that point in time.
It's an illusion that's around you that if you went and sat in a restaurant, you're actually still eating food. Like it's actually like putting replicator stuff in there, so you're still drinking drinks and eating food and stuff. So, I mean, that just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can imagine it being super sad too. But I'm not going to bring up any of those fucking scenarios. But
all right, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff we could bring up, and there's been shows I wanted to bring into discussion. But again, I don't want to spoil anything else. But Free Guy.
Okay, so I'll put this. I've been trying to find something for us to like, something else for us to do, like different niches. So if you want to hear us wax philosophical about other things, write down in the comment what you want us to talk about. And Nick and I will, you know, we'll shoot the shit on it. I'll give you my old fucking what I think the world is version of it, and Nick can give you his.
I'm cynical.
version of it, and we'll talk about it. So, but yeah, just put down in the comments below, or if you what your experiences on certain things.
So I'm kind of curious, like,
what is life to you?
If life itself was a thing you could subscribe to and like walk around in, would you think that would get bored or get boring?
And what do you want it to be?
Well, yeah. What would be your, I guess, non-violent game of choice? Like, you don't get to kill any NPCs. All the NPCs have to be fine. So I know, like, some people would be like, well, Stardew Valley, is non-violent and fun. Well, there's in that Stardew Valley, you go into the mines and kill monsters and none of that. You don't get to kill anything. There's no killing whatsoever. What's your game? Is it American Truck Simulator? I know people love that. Are you just playing simulator games? Are you playing like some farming sim game? Or are you playing The Sims? But you can't. No torturing your own sim.
See, it's hard.
All your NPCs have to be like. You can't be the cause of violence to your NPC. So what is that game?
I mean, I want to say it'd be a sex, drugs, and rock and roll fucking sim for me, but I can't imagine a life without Jackson and Amber now. So it's like I want to say something campy like, "A place where Jackson and Amber and I are happy," but then it's like I think of like when I was young. I just want to have sex, do drugs, and listen to fucking music all day.
I mean, even that would be an interesting life itself game where it's just a bunch of musicians and they all just make music, and occasionally you just walk into the thing and be like, I'm just going to walk around here. Oh, this band is playing a song. Oh, it's a pretty cool song. You add it to your list and walk into the next room and another band's playing a song and you're like, I don't particularly like this song, so I'll move on to the next.
A holodeck program where you get to go and watch bands. Yeah, like that sounds fucking awesome.
So that'd be a cool life itself game where it's just music. Some of it's real, ported from real life. Some of it's the AI get to make their own music.
Yeah.
And you just get to watch in it. Because that's I guess, an aquarium experience where you go in and experience what it is they're doing, but because it's music. Or like maybe you go in and they're doing plays, and now you get to watch AI theater. Maybe that's fun. Rather than just walking in and being like, watching them walk around and being like, oh, hey. And then...
But the thing that's funny with that scenario to me is like, if it's an aquarium that you get to walk around and you do these things, it's like, I went today and I looked at the birds and I looked at the fish. The manta rays are swimming. I got to touch a manta ray. And then you have that one guy that went, I went to the aquarium and a fucking bald eagle pecked out a kid's eye. Whose story do you think is going to be like more interesting for a while? It's like the guy that had the tragic thing. And I listened to a thing online the other day. I don't remember the guy's name, but he said the reason that we are the way we are is because we're wired to watch out for shitty things around us.
Got to be mindful of the danger that's going to come out and grab you.
And then that's why we're so like negative minded and stuff like that, because we're constantly looking for the next thing that's going to like, we still have that caveman mentality of like when we go out and expose ourselves that we're putting ourselves in danger. And it made a lot of fucking sense, because there's a lot of things that I'm afraid of. I have no reason to be afraid of it. No reason. But my mind kicks into, like, I can't walk out on the back porch anymore and smoke a cigarette without watching my son on the phone. Because I'm afraid he's going to fall out of the fucking crib. The blanket's going to get wrapped around his head. I'm always, like, trying to anticipate these scenarios. Eventually, if something happens, most likely I won't be able to stop it, because you can't fucking do everything.
Yeah. And you can't be staring at your son every second of every day and hope that nothing bad happens to him.
I mean, I can.
No, you really can't. At some point in time, you'll pass out and die.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird, because I'm always fucking ready for the other shoe to fucking fall.
All right. I think we've waxed poetic enough about hypothetical questions at the end of the free guy thing and the questions, I guess, that it spawned. So, movie, it's okay.
It's no one's watching at this point. It's like these two old fucks are talking about like this fucking theoretical stuff. Or like this supposed lives you can live. There's.
I'm trying to wrap this video in a bow.
Sorry.
I'm trying to wrap this video in a bow, and you're like snipping the thing, being like, I want to add more.
Ain't nobody watching this shit.
Some people are.
As soon as we stop talking about Free Guy, they're just like, but. Yeah,
we've posed some questions. We've talked about the movie. I think we can call this one.
It's decent.
I think we could put a fork in this one.
Okay, one last thing. Okay. Name one movie that Ryan Reynolds has done that's not as good as this movie. Is this his worst movie?
No. I didn't really like it. Is it called Best Friends?
Forgiveness.
Yeah,
It's more than saying so. It's okay.
I don't know that movie is better than this one. Is it worse than this one? Maybe.
Amber loves that movie.
I'm not. It's okay. I mean, whatever.
It's
a whatever movie to me.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. So yeah, I'm trying to think of something that he's done that's like worse to me, but I'd have to like go dig through IMDb.
You'd have to dig through his thing to be like, I didn't remember he was in that movie.
Yeah. I just wanted to pose a question. Yeah. Sorry. All right.
So we will see you next time.
So, for the next thing that we do. Bye.
Whatever that is.